I was babysitting for a friend's little girl, and I took her in and I had sat down with a glass of wine to watch a day in the life of a mafia killer and a day in the life of a spy, and it was very brutal. And the little girl kept coming down saying, "Dolly is thirsty, Dolly wants a drink of water," and I had to tell her fairy stories and all that. So there was this cross-pollination going on, and so this poem is sort of like all that innocence and violence all strung together. So it's called Nursery Crimes. So it goes like this. It's called Up Above the World So High. The three blind mice, the three blind mice. They didn't tell you the same thing twice, and they wasn't very nice, and they wasn't blind. They wore shades to hide their eyes, maestros with a switchblade knife. They ran all the vice, and then the opposition had already lost their lives. But fuck it, lately the farmer's wife, it was rumoured she'd done the old man in, and had started taking over everything, and had now begun to move in on their territory. And they weren't pleased. They weren't used to being told what they could and couldn't do. Confrontation and respect was due. Both boobs bore a tattoo that proclaimed in Latin trouble and strife and fuck you. Our other tattoo just above her pubic hair stated in mock Gothic script, "Abandon hope, all ye you went to hear." One night the farmer's wife decided to separate the men from the mice. Had them scrubbed out by a cycle known locally only as slasher gore. Now the three blind mice don't see so good no more. See, being dead ain't good for the sight. Ain't that right? Ain't that fucking right? Deal with them, boys. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, meet the new big mama of vice, the farmer's wife, just like it spells out in nasty neon light, twinkling, twinkling, obscuring the twilight. Thank you. Our friend Mrs. Shakespeare had gone to live amongst the Welsh, and we had brought her up into the woods to see Alan Wolfson read his poem about shark corners come from Wales, and he has another poem called Licenses. And I was saying, "Oh, that was a very funny poem, wasn't it?" And she said, "No, that was how it is in Wales. You do need a license for everything. And indeed, you need a license to move a pig from one area to another. You need a license to walk your pet pig in public. You also need a license to walk your pet public in England as well. In Scotland, you don't. I don't know if that means they let you walk a pet pig in public, or they just haven't considered it. Anyway, so this is about licenses and pigs. It's called Oh, But That's Another Story. It's from Margaret Shakespeare. Her mother died giving birth, so from that day to this we considered her ours, one of the family. Okay, Jeremy, so she was a pig, but oh, such a pretty pig, Jeremy. And we kept her in the caravan, reared her as one of our own, almost considered her as human. Oh, the squeals of children and pig. Well, she grew and grew until the day came for her to be serviced. Our maiden pig, a fine Welsh white gilt. Now, being English amongst the Welsh, I knew you needed a license to move a pig from area to area. So I presented myself to our two-man police force. Well, of course they had licenses for the this of that or the that of this. But alas, Jeremy, no license for the moving of a pig. They had somehow run out. The licenses, not the pigs, Jeremy. So they gave me a license for a crane and crossed out the bit not pertaining to a pig. I thought they might ask me, how many wheels on your pig, or what type of machinery is your pig? But when it was done, it was done. A kind of Frankenform, half crane, half pig. And I was free now to move my pig wheresoever I wished. And so I brought her to the boar. And then there was the time there was a pig born without an arsehole. Not an uncommon occurrence, they told me. And so I set off for the vets on my motorcycle and sidecar. Oh, but that's another story. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I love that poem.